Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit sick today. I have a little bit of a cold. So I have my Vicks Vapor Rub. I don't know if you guys have this in different countries, but this shit is the bomb. And we're going to do a little bit of a chill episode today. On this channel, I cover a lot of sex, dating, relationships. If you go onto my channel and click on playlists, I have a playlist down the bottom for sex. There's like 100 and something videos in there. Relationships, we have a little bit of BDSM kink. And something that comes up quite a bit when I cover topics about sex or dating or relationships is obviously insecurities. Relationships and dating, particularly the start of dating when you're first meeting someone new and you don't really know each other, you don't necessarily trust them. There's sort of a hesitation sometimes or a nervousness with opening up and being vulnerable. Sometimes insecurities can come up. If you're a woman, you might worry about not being pretty enough, or maybe he's dated someone more attractive than me. Maybe my fucking eyebrows aren't as pretty as the other girl over there. If you're a guy, maybe you worry that your dick is too small, that you're too short, that you're not attractive enough, that you're not cool enough, that you're not interesting enough, or whatever. But relationships, and particularly the early part or the early portion of dating, can bring up a lot of insecurities. And probably the most common two that I hear from guys is I'm worried that it's too late for me, as in I'm too old or, I don't have enough experience and it's too late, I've missed out. And the second one that's probably the most common is I'm short, or I worry that women will think that I'm too short. I worry that women all want 6'2" guys, and any guy under 6 foot is just a manlet, and I'm unlovable, and no one's ever going to like me. And by the way, for women, most of the insecurities are either I'm too old, or I'm not cool enough, or I'm fat, or I have pimples, or my eyebrows aren't on point. A million different ones. But we'll cover the one for guys here today, and we'll talk a little bit about worrying about your height. And this is something that I've covered probably like 20 times on this channel, and then 20 times on my Spotify podcast, and then on my website and stuff like that. But it's a recurring common one that a lot of guys feel very insecure about. And if you go onto my channel, I would probably start with this video here. Just search on my channel for the word short, and then there's this video here called Short Guys Will Never Have Sex. I would start with that and watch through that. Then I would watch through this video here, this one called No Arms, No Legs, No Excuses, by a man called Nick Vujicic. And any of you who are OGs of the channel are going to be very proud of me because I can now pronounce his name correctly. He has a Serbian name and I never used to be able to pronounce it, but now I can. Nick Vujicic. And this guy was born without any arms or any legs, so he's obviously shorter than you, unless you were born without arms and legs. And he tried to kill himself when he was 10 years old because of bullying, and he was so utterly convinced that he didn't have a place in the world, that he was a mistake, that God or the universe didn't love him, that he was a freak, all of this kind of stuff. And he was utterly convinced that no woman would want a guy that was, first of all, that short. But I don't even think he cared about the short thing. It was more, how can I love a woman? I can't even hug her. I don't have arms to hug a woman. How can I provide for her? How can I protect her? How can I love her? How could I ever have a family? And he was convinced that he would be unlovable. But guess what? You can see in this thumbnail, this is him with his lovely family. His wife's name is Kanye, and he has two boys, and two girls. I think the girls are twins as well. So he has a family of four. So Nick Vujicic can do it. And look how short he is. And this guy is an absolute gem of a human being, by the way. If you want to know more about him, go look up some interviews with him. He's a motivational speaker. He's an amazing human being. But, start with those two videos. So search on my channel for the word short and watch the Short Guys Will Never Have Sex, and then watch the Nick Vujicic one. And then go into the playlist section on my YouTube channel, scroll to the bottom and click coaching client interviews, and you'll see I've done a bunch of interviews with guys that were shorter as well. So these are all past clients. This guy here, 27-year-old virgin, sleeps with 8 women in his first year. I believe he was a shorter guy. This Asian guy here even had his first threesome shortly after the end of the coaching program, and he's a shorter guy. This guy here, Laz, is a shorter guy. There's 3 guys in the coaching group right now who are shorter. Ed here is 5'6", and he was a virgin. He was 31 years old and a virgin with extreme erectile dysfunction when he first came to the coaching program. And he's gone on to have sex with, I don't know, something insane like 100 women. This guy here was 5'4" and a virgin when he came to us, and he ended up having sex 4 times in his time in the coaching program. I believe this guy here was shorter. I believe this guy here was shorter. I believe he was as well. And a couple of these other ones were shorter as well, but I didn't put it in the title. But if you click into the videos, it will be in the description. It will have their height because, these guys don't give a shit about their height, or maybe they have some insecurity about it when they first come, but it's something that people focus on a lot. So I did put it in the description of some of those videos. There's also another interview on my channel. If you just search for like 5'7", with a 5'7" bald guy who I believe hadn't had a lot of sex. I can't remember if he was a virgin. I don't think he was. I think he just hadn't had a lot of sex, a lot of experience, and he lost like 20 kilograms in 4 months. He wasn't in the coaching program, to be clear. He was just on our forums. So this is just a community member. And he was 5'7" and ended up having like quite a bit of sex. I believe, I don't think I put it here, but I believe he had quite a bit of sex, like 10 women or something in a year or something, pretty fucking good. So the point is, plenty of content on my channel if you're a shorter guy and you're feeling inexperienced, or you're feeling, nervous and inadequate, or worried that women won't like you. But let's go through an old good-looking loser, who was one of my mentors, an old good-looking loser article called "A 5'1" Guy That Gets Laid More Than You Do." Because before I did all this content, all these like interviews with all these like shorter guys and blah, 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 this article used to be the one that I would send to guys who were a little bit insecure about their height. And it was sort of a nice little reassurance from a guy who was, very short, let's be honest. 5'1" is quite short. And he still had an amazing sex life that he was very happy with. And so it was a nice little bit of proof, or a nice little bit of reassurance that, like, if this guy can do it, you can too. And again, if you want the ultimate reassurance, look up Nick Vujicic family, and you can see him with his family. Again, this is the guy with no arms and no legs. There's your ultimate like reassurance. Like literally this guy's message, because he's a motivational speaker and an evangelist, and part of his motivational messages, like he's spoken at TED Talks and stuff like that, part of his motivational message is, if I can live a happy life, you can too. Like basically my exact message in this community. If I can do it, you sure as hell can too. Like that's literally his freaking message. And so if you want inspiration, check this guy out. You can also check out his book. And this isn't me sponsored or anything, but like I freaking love this book. It's called Love Without Limits by Nick Vujicic. And his wife also writes in it too. And it's about like their love life and how they met. And it's like a very sweet book. There's like a bunch of pictures in there as well, of them together. And there's like a cute little picture of them at the wedding, and they're just like the sweetest little couple. They're like so nice. If you look them up in interviews, look at this cute little picture. If you look up interviews with the two of them, they're like the most loving, wholesome, nice, like beautiful little Christian family. They're so fucking nice. They're like such unbelievably nice, kind people. And yeah, there you go. That's your inspiration. If this guy can like have a family of 4 with a beautiful wife who adores the shit out of him, like you can just see in every interview that they do. They've been together for, I don't know at this point. I think they've been together for like 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. I don't know, a while. Okay, I just looked it up. They've been together for 12 years. So if he can find a beautiful, loving wife and start a family, and God, how high would he be? How tall would he be? How tall is the torso? How tall is like here to here? I could measure that. That's going to be really short. That's going to be like, I don't know, like 1 meter. That's like really short. So he's like probably like 3 foot, right? He can't be taller than 3 foot, 3 or 4 feet. Anyway, if a guy that's 3 foot or 4 foot, no arms and no legs, can find love, can find a relationship, can build a relationship, you sure as hell can too. But let's talk about this article. Let's read through this article. So the start of it is just an introduction from Chris from Good Looking Loser. So we'll kind of like skip that. But he's basically just saying guys that he know that get laid a lot. And if getting laid isn't your main goal, if you want a girlfriend or you want marriage or something, then I would be like, honestly, if you want marriage, like I would just grab this I would just like pay attention to Nick Vujicic. If like marriage and a relationship is your goal, just and you're short, be like Nick Vujicic. But if having more sex and getting laid a lot is your goal, then this article might help. So Chris basically says, the guys that he know that get laid a lot, like they're not perfect. Like they have some of the fundamentals, like they dress as well as they possibly can be. They're like relatively confident, which is something you just build with practice. Like you don't have to be confident at the start. But he makes it very clear, like height is still their biggest insecurity, and yet they're still meeting women. Like you really don't have to overcome your insecurities. It's okay to feel not good enough. Just also go and talk to women. It's okay to feel like you're too short and no woman would like you, but then just go out there and try anyway. So you can feel the insecurity and do it anyway. And yeah, he says that like some insecure guys still get laid all the time. How? Because they just look good and talk to women. That's it. And by the way, looking good just means improving your looks. You don't have to be born a model. I'm not that attractive, but I've just improved my looks and how I dress and all of that. So it literally is just improve yourself, like self improvement, and then go talk to a lot of women. And some of them will like you. Like that's it. That's the secret. How do you get a girlfriend? You improve yourself a little bit each day and you talk to as many women as you possibly can each week. That's it. It's not fucking complicated. It might feel scary if you haven't done it before. It might be intimidating. You might have to overcome certain boundaries and work on improving yourself and all of that. But it literally is just keep improving your appearance and improving yourself as a human being as well, and talk to a lot of people. Same as like starting a business, by the way. Like building a business is literally just like put out decent content and keep improving it, and then just like keep doing it, or like keep cold approaching potential clients and asking if they want to be part of your business, or just like ask people if they want coaching from you, like whatever business you have. Offer people your product. It's literally just keep improving the product or the service, and then offer your product or service to a lot of people. That's it. It's not complicated. All right. So let's get further into this article. So basically, this guy, not Chris, but the guy who's 5'1", who's about to write the rest of this article, he looks a little bit edgy, or he dresses edgy. He has tattoos. He has a masculine face. Like he's obviously improved his looks and stuff like that. He doesn't want his pick, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, let's hear from this guy. So this is the 5'1" guy, and he's now writing the rest of this article. My dearest, shortest losers. I've seen a lot of posts regarding height insecurities lately. Although in first impression you might think that I'm taller, I'm 5'1". And most of you listening, the guys of you who are a little bit insecure about your height, you're probably taller than 5'1". Like you just are. If you're not tall, if you're shorter than 5'1", then Nick Vujicic is your fucking inspiration. Fucking read everything this guy's ever said. This guy is your fucking northern light or your northern star. This guy is the one to like obsess about and go, whatever this motherfucker's done, I'm going to do that. If you're like shorter than 5'1", be like fucking Nick Vujicic. But a lot of you listening are taller than 5'1". You're like 5'4", 5'6". You're in that sort of range. Again, I've worked with a lot of clients that are around 5'4" to 5'7", and they're insecure about their height. So this guy is even shorter than most of you who are insecure about your height. He goes on to say, I was in the exact same position, as in he was insecure about his height, about 9 months ago when I first found Good Looking Loser, so I would like to share my story. 9 months ago, my girlfriend of 4+ years broke up with me. My life revolved around keeping her happy. Yeah, like a lot of men, a lot of women too. A lot of people like obsess about or pour all their time and energy into like hoping that their partner will be happy. Like that saying, happy wife, happy life, which I've talked about before in content. But yeah, it's a pretty quick path to losing yourself, obsessing about your partner being happy rather than you yourself being happy, and they can handle their own happiness, and then you guys come together and add to each other's lives. He goes on to say, and I thought the best way to do that, as in to make her happy, was to give her all my time. Oh, God. I had sacrificed law school. Oh, brother. Going out with friends, no. Creative goals, gym time, anything to satisfy her need for more attention. Without her, my life was empty. Yeah. Maybe don't do that if you can. I've done videos on the channel about keeping your independence in relationships and making yourself a whole person, not trying to complete someone else, blah, blah, blah. I remembered the anxiety I felt just thinking about introducing myself to women, as in this is after he broke up with her, or after they broke up. The few times I built up the courage to start a conversation, I was ignored. This pattern repeated itself for the next few weeks, and it was slowly chipping away at what little confidence I had left. I decided I needed a new plan. I knew I wanted to lose weight. I wasn't fat, but I wasn't ripped. Somehow, after hours of Googling, I ended up finding Good Looking Losers Fat Loss Diet. I followed it 100%. I kept a scale in my living room directly in front of a large mirror, and I nailed a piece of paper to the wall where I tracked my weight daily. I kept a note card in my pocket with the words GLL Fat Loss written in Sharpie. Every time I sat down to eat, I placed the note card on the table, reminding myself that it was my number one goal. I was unstoppable. I love that. That's awesome. As I lost weight, I felt myself slowly transforming physically and mentally. Yeah, it's usually the mental changes that are the biggest changes, the mindset and the self love, and starting to feel like you can do something awesome. My abs began to pop and my face became more angular. I had to buy smaller clothes, and I took this opportunity to upgrade my style. Awesome. I started reading other good looking loser articles, and I realized I had approach anxiety, as in anxiety to approach women, like nervousness around hitting on women. So I made a point to chat with women every day. Awesome. This is something that we do a lot in the coaching program, where guys will say, like, I have approach anxiety. Like, how do I overcome it? And it's like the most simple answer ever. We're like, just go talk to women. And they're like, but what should I say? It doesn't matter. Like, literally just say, hello, woman. Like anything. Literally just talk to women as you go about your day. Young women, old women, doesn't matter. Just like you're in the elevator, talk to a woman. Talk to men too. Like we say that. Just talk to everybody. And the more that you practice talking to people, the more that you'll see that people are really nice. You know, I did a video about this recently on my channel. It's one of the most recent videos called Women Are Actually Really Nice. And I talked about the fact that a lot of guys are terrified to start hitting on women. But if you just start talking to some of them, you will see that they're unbelievably nice. Like women are so nice. They understand that if you've walked up to them and hit on them, it probably took you a lot of courage and you're probably quite nervous, and they'll be quite respectful of that. Every now and then you might meet a woman who's having a bad day or she's a bit grumpy or something. Fine. But that's so unbelievably rare. Most women, and I'll say most people, are pretty fucking nice. So yeah, talk to women every day. That is like the easiest way to overcome approach anxiety, or show yourself that people aren't scary, which is what approach anxiety is. It's a fear of like, what if something bad happens when I hit on this person? But if you just talk to people, you'll start saying, oh, most people are pretty nice. Okay, like nothing bad's going to happen. And even if it does, I'll be okay. He goes on to say, and as I lost weight, my interactions with women completely changed. If I asked for directions somewhere, many of them would offer to walk me there. Women at bars would tell me that I was attractive. They would introduce me to their friends and they would give me their number without me asking. Yes, this is like mostly from weight loss. I did an article many years ago, and I said the number one thing that most guys can do probably applies to women too. The number one thing most people can do to be more attractive is to lose weight. And if you're already lean and thin, like fine. But like the average person, the quickest way or the most effective thing they could do to improve their looks is to lose weight. I would say that's of equal value to as like improving your style and like the clothes you wear. And then, you know, if you want a third thing, like improving your mental health and like your self-love, like the person who loves themselves is just absolutely magnetic. I mean, the best example of that is, again, Nick Vujicic, this guy. A big part of the reason, he talks about it in the book, a big part of the reason why his wife was so attracted to him was because he just has so much self-love. Like, you can't help but love the person who loves themselves. But yeah, the probably the most effective way of being more attractive is to lose weight. So he says, all of this validation was intoxicating, but I was still just meeting women. I was too scared to make a move. That's when I tried Kratom. I wouldn't worry about this. This is like a drug. I don't necessarily recommend it. It's illegal in my country anyway. So basically, he just took something that helps him relax a little bit. But that isn't necessarily what I would advocate for. I don't necessarily advocate for taking drugs or alcohol or something to help you relax. You can if you want to. There's nothing wrong with it, but it wouldn't be my first choice. My first choice would be Just go talk to more people. Give yourself permission to suck. It's okay if you do a bad job. That usually relaxes people more than any substance. Permission to do a bad job is pretty liberating. So he says, first night I took it, I went to a bar and made out with 3 different women. It was a revelation to what talking to women was like without anxiety. And that can be one of the benefits of taking a drug or a substance to relax you a little bit, is it can almost teleport you or transport you to a point that you will be at in the future anyway. What I mean by that is it can teleport you to a point of being that unanxious person, being that relaxed person. So, yeah, again, I'm not against taking drugs and substances. I myself have taken LSD probably like 50 times in my life for, spirituality, for self-improvement, for self-counseling and self-discovery. So I'm not against drugs and alcohol and stuff. It wouldn't be my first recommendation. My first recommendation would be give yourself permission to suck. Just go talk to people. Take a friend with you, take a wingman. That can help, but yeah, nothing against drugs and alcohol. He goes on to say, the next weekend, I met a beautiful photographer. I made eye contact with her at a bar. I smiled and I chatted with her for a couple of minutes. All of Chris's, as in good looking losers, advice came flooding into my brain. I touched her, I brought her outside, I kissed her, drove her to my house, and slept with her. All of my self improvement paid off, and it was effortless. Yeah, so that last bit there, that's like a lot of what we talk about on this channel. That was a big part of Good Looking Losers philosophy as well. It was like, rather than learning all of these pickup lines and all of this like weird stuff, is there a way to make human interaction? Is there a way to make sex and intimacy and dating a bit more effortless? And obviously, self improvement is a big part of it. Self love is another big part of it. And yeah, that's a big message in my channel, is like, how can we make all of our goals a bit more effortless? Because then they're fun. Rather than suffering and struggling through your goals and it being painful and all of that, how can we make this effortless and fun? Like, you're allowed to have fun during this journey. So, yeah, good stuff. Over the past 6 months, I've slept with around 20 women. I have 4 women that I sleep with regularly, and one of these women I see 1 to 2 times a week. I know I can go out any weeknight and have a decent chance at bringing a woman home, and this abundance mentality lets me do what I want 100% of the time. Again, bearing in mind, this is a guy that is 5'1". He goes on to say, I'm still a sweetheart. Nice. Most of our coaching clients, most of you listening are absolute fucking sweethearts, even if you wouldn't call yourself that. Like, we screen pretty hard. Like, we've built this community around like being nice to each other, like being nice to women, and any women listening, like most of you are fucking nice as well. Like, yeah, you can be an absolute sweetheart. There's this kind of like thing that you have that you almost get from high school, which is like, oh, jerks and bad boys and douchebags get laid. Like, women like bad boys, women like assholes. And it's like, yeah, some women do like assholes. Guess what? Some women like nice guys. Like, but anyway, that's a separate discussion. I've covered that a million times on this channel. You can be a nice person. You can be a kind-hearted, compassionate human being and have a ridiculous amount of sex. Like, I feel like most of you know that by now. Like, yeah. He goes on to say, I fall in love with every woman that I sleep with, if only for a night, but they know I won't tolerate bullshit. Sometimes I miss having a girlfriend, and I think about having a family someday. Beautiful, that's awesome. But the next relationship I have will be entered into from a position of power. Yeah, even taking away the word power, like, because power has a lot of connotations. I know exactly what he means, but like, maybe a word that resonates a little better might be something like choice, from a position of choice, or a position of abundance, or a position of like rationality and logic. Like, he'll know that whoever he builds a family with, it will be because he had a fair amount of options and he chose the person that he thought would be the best match for him, rather than what it sounds like he did with his previous girlfriend, which was like, oh, please like me, please can I make you happy, like, please, I'll sacrifice everything for you. So yeah, that's awesome. So how does my height affect my success? I can probably even tell you, before I even scroll down, I will tell you, how does it affect my success? It means that some women don't like him. And for any of you shorter guys listening, some women won't like you because you're short. They will basically not even talk to you. They'll talk to you. They'll be nice to you, but they're not going to match with you on a dating app. They're not really going to entertain, they're not going to give you a phone number if you meet them at a bar or something, other than to be friends. Like they're not into you. Like that's true. So how does it affect my success? Well, then I just go and talk to more women. That will be what he will say. I'll predict right now that's probably what he's going to say. I just go talk to more women. Well, many women bring it up at some point, yep, especially the ones over 5'8". I'm so much taller than you, or you're really short. I've learned though that the ones that bring it up are usually interested in me. Some women will straight up not get with shorter guys, but they ignore me. So exactly what I just said, they won't match with you. They won't give you their phone number. And he says, and I don't see any point in dwelling on that. Yeah, if you're a shorter guy and you're very insecure, or you're very stuck on the fact that some women don't like shorter men, if you fixate on that and dwell on that, you can make yourself very miserable and you can make yourself feel unlovable and unwanted and not good enough because that's all you're focusing on. But if every woman that ignores you or doesn't want to give you a phone number or doesn't match with you on Tinder or Hinge or just wouldn't date a shorter guy, if every one of those women that you meet, you just go like, okay, cool, bye, like, and do that in a loving way, okay, cool, bye. I hope you find what you're looking for. Goodbye. And then you go and talk to the next woman, then you don't even remember them anymore. You like literally forget about all the women that aren't interested in you. From your point of view, it's as if they don't exist. And not that they don't exist as a human being, but you don't remember it. You're not dwelling on it. You don't fixate on it. You forget it. You forget about all the women that aren't interested in you. And this is something that all of us go through to some extent. Literally everyone on the planet has a lot of people that are not going to be interested in them. I don't have any hair. A lot of women don't like bald men, like a decent chunk of it. Do I sit there and go, oh shit, I'm bald, it's harder to get laid? And lots of people do fixate on the fact that they're bald. They feel very insecure about it. It's probably the, I don't know, third most common insecurity that I see in my male coaching clients or men. The first one being, I'm short. The second one being, it's too late for me. The third one being, actually, the third one is probably, I'm Asian or Indian. And then the fourth one is, I'm bald. Maybe somewhere in there is, I'm a virgin or I'm inexperienced. But anyway, the point is, being, or each of us have some insecurity. Almost every human being on the planet has something that they're insecure about. And if you focus on that insecurity and obsess about and tunnel in on the people that don't like you for that insecurity that you have, you will just make yourself unhappy. You will just make yourself fucking miserable. I'll tell you right now, not everybody on the planet is going to like you. If you're a guy, not every woman on the planet is going to want to be with you, especially if, or particularly if you're shorter. It's such a visually obvious thing right there and then. Like if I'm bald, sometimes I wear a hat. If it's summer, I'm wearing a hat. A woman might not even see that I'm bald. And so she might give me a chance. We go on a date and then she finds out they would find out anyway because I tell them. Like it's obvious I'm bald. But you get what I'm trying to say. If it's something that's not as visually obvious, like if you're a virgin, that's not as visually obvious, so more women will talk to you right off the bat. But if you're a shorter guy, yes, literally, obviously, visually, you are short. That's right there out in front. And so less women will talk to you immediately. Amazing. Isn't that beautiful? They won't waste your time, and you won't waste their time. It will be very obvious that they're not into you because they just won't give you a phone number. They will still be nice to you. Like I said, the vast majority of women, the vast majority of human beings are very nice. And so they won't just be like, oh, you're small, you're disgusting, oh, you're so gross. But if you can learn to focus on the women who will give you a shot or who are interested in getting to know you more, and you give them a shot and see if you like them as well, beautiful. Then there are so many women out there that you can date. But if you focus on the ones who would ignore you or not be with you, then you will start to tell yourself a story that there are no women out there who like shorter guys. Yes, there fucking are. This guy is a good example. Nick Vujicic is a bloody good example. There are a lot of women out there who don't give a shit. Like, they just don't care. They're like, sure, you're short, cool, great. Are you a good person? Are you an interesting person? Are you kind? Are you compassionate? Are you interested in sex? Do you like me? Like all of those other things. They don't care about the height as much. He goes on to say, when I'm out, I get shit from guys. Who does this guy think he is? What's up, little man? I used to get angry about it, and fair enough, yeah. Like, again, none of this is me saying just get over it. No, not at all. I completely understand insecurity. Believe me, I understand insecurity. But he goes on to say, but now I just smile, introduce myself, and I generally befriend them. Yeah, funnily enough. I love that. I found that most guys talking shit aren't happy, and I feel sorry for them. Yeah, so this is a very good point. I've made this point before. Good Looking Loser has made this point before too. He did an article called Girls That Are Mean to You Usually Have Mental Problems, as in they're just not happy in themselves. And you can flip that around and say guys that would be mean to you are not happy. You know, that's why, generally speaking, a lot of the time, if someone leaves a very negative comment on YouTube, like on my channel, sometimes I'll just delete the comment and be like, whatever, I can't be bothered leaving that there. But a lot of the time, I will reply to that person and say, hey, like, is there anything you want from us? Like, it's very fucking clear that you're in a position of pain right now. Otherwise, why would you be saying something unkind to another human being? It's very obvious that you're not happy. Happy people don't talk shit about other people. They might like joke and stuff like that. But like generally speaking, happy people don't try and hurt other people. Happy people want other people to be happy because when you're happy, you have an abundance. You feel like your life is going great and you want to help lift other people up. You at least want other people to have a good time because you're having a good time. You know, there's that saying, misery likes company. And so if somebody is belittling you, you know, man or woman, if a man or a woman is belittling you, particularly for your height, which is something that you don't have control over. I mean, you can wear like height increasing shoes and stuff, but it's something that you were born with. They are literally mocking you as a human being. They're probably not in a great place, you know? He goes on to say, and this bit made me giggle to think about, the rare times this doesn't work, as in like trying to befriend someone, I stop talking mid-sentence, I step into their personal space, I look them straight in the eye and say, what's up? I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that, but do whatever you want. I've never had anyone fuck with me after that. I would rather personally just either befriend the person or really honestly, I would walk away. Like, you know, if someone's going to be mean to me, which some people are, you know, I get people being mean to me. Like, congratulations, I have I have a decent sized YouTube channel. Of course, I'm going to get negative comments. I just don't interact with that person. You know, they're going through a tough time or they're grumpy or they're angry or they're just not feeling happy. Like, I just don't have people like that in my life. And so you're allowed to just ignore people like this. You know, if some guy or some girl is like giving you shit for your height, if they're like, wow, you're so short, you're allowed to just unmatch them on the dating app. You're allowed to just, if it's in a bar or something, be like, yeah, and then walk away, you know? Like, you don't have to spend time with that person. You can if you want to, you know? He goes on to say, will that get me punched in the face someday? Maybe, but it would make a great story. All the time guys waste moaning about their height could be spent at the gym, and this is a key point. Yeah, when we focus on the negative, like whether it's your height, whether it's your appearance, whether it's your weight, whether it's any of this stuff, time spent obsessing about problems and telling yourself that it's hopeless and that nothing can be done and obsessing about the problem is time that you could have spent actually solving the problem. I talked about this a shitload in my video course, you know, the Play to Win video course, which there's a link in the description below to that. You can grab that for $1. Pay whatever you want for it, even if that's just $1. Basically, every fucking chapter of the video course is about how to not focus on the problem and instead focus on the solution. You know, some of the chapters are like growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is when you think that things are fixed and nothing can be done, like you feel like it's hopeless. And that's how a lot of guys who are insecure about their height, they feel that like that's what they obsess about. They're like, oh, it's hopeless. I'm short and women don't like short guys, therefore nothing can be done. As this guy is saying, it's like time spent saying, I'm short and nothing can be done is time that you could be spent at the gym, talking to women, working on your life goals, working on your self-love, reading fucking Nick Vujicic's book. Again, not sponsored, but holy fuck, I love this guy. You know, listening to my content, going out there and actually making friends with women and guys and showing yourself that a lot of people won't care about your fucking height. Like, they have their own insecurities, and that's something else to think about. Everybody else is the center point of their own life. Like everybody is the hero of their own story, and you're just an extra in their story. You're an extra in their movie. What thinking about that can give you is a little bit of freedom when you realize, oh shit, I right now am so hyper focused on my insecurities and my shortness or whatever it is that you're insecure about. They are probably hyper focused on their own insecurities. There's a chance they don't even give a fuck about the fact that I'm short, or they just don't even notice it. They're like, yeah, he's short, cool, I don't care. Like, I'll still date him. But you're sitting there making it into a big mountain, assuming that literally every woman that looks at you thinks, ew, short guy, ew, disgusting. No, some people are a little less shallow than that. Some people, again, fucking Nick Vujicic's wife, Kanye, is a really good example of this, look beyond the physical and they look at who you are as a human being. What your goals are, what your hobbies are, your sense of humor, your laughter, your smile, your eyes. Again, this couple, when they first met, Kanye, that's his wife there, Nick asked her, like, what is it that you liked about me? And she said, your eyes. Like your eyes, your smile and your eyes. That is what I fell in love with. And it was literally love at first sight. And so there is so much more to you than just your height, but you're objectifying yourself, quite literally objectifying yourself, and then projecting that onto other people and saying, all women will objectify me and they'll look at my height and say it's gross and they don't want to date me. No, some women will look at your height and say that they don't want to date you, but not every woman. You're the one that is saying, I'm short and unlovable, and then you're blaming other people for that. You're the one that's rejecting yourself before other people even get a chance to. And yes, there will be some women out there who don't want to date you. Amazing. Isn't that beautiful? Go talk to the other women. There will be some guys, or there might be some guys that give you shit for being shorter and still hitting on women. Amazing. Don't be friends with those people. I would not recommend being friends with or dating someone that is going to be unkind to you for a physical appearance that you did not have a choice over. Again, that would be like bullying this motherfucker just because he's born without arms and legs. And yes, some people have. In his life, he has had negative comments. Of course, as I'm sure you could fucking guess. If you're born with no arms and no legs, I'm sure a lot of people, and I mean, he talks about this, a lot of people will have something to say about that, something unkind to say about that sometimes. Amazing. Don't be friends with that person. You have nothing but love and kindness in your heart for them, but you just say, hey, no, thank you. Nothing but love for you. I hope you have a beautiful life. I'm going this fucking direction. You go that way, or you do whatever the fuck you want, but you're not going to be part of my life. I'm going to go find the people that are going to be nice to me. So yeah, that's a little bit about, like he said, focus on the solutions. Focus on going to the gym, talking to women, working on life goals, learning to love yourself, being kind to yourself, talking to more people, all that shit. And again, I talk about all this in the Play to Win video course in the chapter Growth Mindset versus Fixed Mindset. Playing to win instead of playing not to lose. In that chapter, I talk about the same concept. This one, especially, the chapter Every Problem Has a Solution, I literally talk about like focusing on solutions. Don't sit there and say, I'm short. The next phrase out of your mouth, I want it to be, what am I going to do about that? I'm short. Cool. What am I going to do about that? What do I want to do about that? There's a chapter about overcoming limiting beliefs and self-doubts, particularly if you're like insecure or you have a lot of doubts that like no woman would like me because I'm short. There's a chapter on failure, setbacks, and stress, like how to become resilient, like what to do if a woman says to you, you're too short for me, or you're gross, I don't want to date you. And then the final chapter, everything is a story and you're in control of the stories that you tell. So all of these chapters, basically most of the video course, is there to help you with this stuff. So again, that's called the Play to Win video course. There is a link down in the description below. You can pay whatever you would like for that, even if that is just $1. I made the video course $1 because I don't want any of you to sit there and say, I can't afford it, I don't have the money, I can't change my life. It's like, just pay $1 then. Like you can pay $1 fucking dollar and change your life. So he goes on to say, basically, focus on what you're going to do about it rather than complaining about the problem. Focus on the solution. It still boils down to looks, style, and social freedom. My life improved dramatically when I let go of insecurities, got out of my own head, and committed to getting shit done. Yeah, again, every problem has a solution. Focus on what you're going to do about it rather than saying, oh, this is a problem. It's a problem. Okay, cool. Go solve it. Go do something about it. He goes on to say, okay, actually, no, this next bit is written by Chris from Good Looking Loser. So everything above was written by the guy who's 5'1". And then this last bit here is from Chris, Good Looking Loser, the person who made the website. In order to explain why this short guy is nailing a bunch of women, it's important for me to reiterate that this guy isn't your average short guy. Yeah, for one, he's not sitting there complaining about his insecurity. This guy isn't your average anything. He's cool, he's in good shape, he's attractive as can be, his looks scream sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He gets a lot of cool friends, blah, 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 blah. So basically, he's put time into his own self improvement. There's nothing average about him. Now, I will throw out there, almost like a counterpoint to this, Nick Vujicic, in terms of physical appearance, is like only slightly above average. And I mean, he's missing arms and legs. So we could say he's like well below average in terms of like looks. And he has a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, and all of that. So yeah, don't even think that you have to be like some amazing looking guy. Obviously put effort into your appearance. And I think you'll agree that like Nick Vujicic does. Like he's done everything he can to be as attractive as he can. And like he dresses very well. He grooms himself very well. I guess I would say somebody else grooms him. His carer grooms him. But you get my point. You don't have to be an absolute like God, but you do want to be above average in terms of looks, as this says. Like just be above average in terms of your looks. In other words, put effort in, make it look like you actually give a shit. Put effort into your self-love and your mental health and all of that. Like that's just the process of self-improvement. But this guy made the choice a long time ago that he wasn't going to be average, and it's now paying dividends for him. Yeah, for sure. If he wasn't attractive, cool, in good shape, popular among his circles, none of this would be happening. Not if he was 6'3". Yeah, there's some truth in that. I mean, again, you can look at like Nick Vujicic and say, well, he's not morbidly obese, is he? He has a lot of love, a lot of self-love. He's a very charismatic, fun, humorous, kind-hearted person, and all of those things are absolutely traits that help him for sure. And those are all things that you can improve and learn. Again, this guy, when he was 10 years old, tried to kill himself. He tried to drown himself in the bathtub multiple times. And so he was very unhappy, very miserable. He didn't have a great sense of humor. Those are all things he like developed and practiced and stuff like that. They're all just traits that you can practice and improve. The same with like appearance. Like don't think like, oh God, I'm overweight and I'm short, therefore I can never meet any women ever. It's like just start slowly losing weight like this guy did. He lost weight over like 9 months or whatever. I myself lost 77 pounds. This is like 10 or so years ago. You can lose weight, you can dress a little better like this guy did. It's just taking those little baby steps and slowly improving. Chris goes on to say, if you're motivated by his story, before you start debating, can this be me? Like, can I do this? Recognize that it won't happen overnight, possibly not in a year, but it is possible. Yeah, I'm glad he put that caveat in there too. And I'd say the same thing about like Nick Vujicic. Nick took like quite a while to develop his very like charismatic, bubbly, happy, energetic personality, like his self-loving and loving to other people personality. That took a little bit of time for him to develop. So yeah, there you go. There's a 5'1" guy that probably gets laid more than you do. At this point, I'm assuming, because this article was written like 12 years ago, probably this dude's married with kids. He's anonymous and he wanted to be anonymous, so I don't know who he is or what he's up to, but yeah, I appreciate him sharing his story. I appreciate Good Looking Loser Chris sharing the story. Like I said, if you want a little more inspiration, go into my coaching client interviews playlist, which is just on my channel, and you can see there's quite a few guys that like were quite short, and I covered their stories, and you can see that they can do it and you can do it too. And the one thing that is consistent with all the people that I just showed is that they had a focus, or they chose, and it is a choice, it's a choice. They chose to focus on solutions, not problems. They didn't sit there and say, I'm short, therefore no woman would like me, so I shouldn't even try. A lot of them even believed no women would like them. A lot of the guys that I've worked with, especially the virgin short guys, they were like convinced. They're like, there's no way a woman would like me, but I'm still going to try. Like, I don't think a woman would like me, but I can't know that for sure. Having that humility to say, I don't know. One of my favorite things that I say to people when they say I'm short and I know no woman would like me, I say this with a smile on my face and a bit of a chuckle. I'm like, oh, so you've talked to every woman and asked them, have you? Like every woman on the planet, 4 billion women on the planet, you've asked them, hey, would you go out with me? Have you? No? Then get to work. Go start talking to them. Go make your way through every woman on the planet and tell me you can't find one fucking woman that will date you or sleep with you or build a family with you or whatever you're looking for. You telling me there's not one woman on the planet? By the way, there are a ridiculous number of really short women on the planet. Like a lot of women. Like even if you're 5'1", there are a lot of 5-foot women on the planet. My girlfriend Imogen, one of her best friends, is 4'11", and her boyfriend, by the way, is like 5'1". So he's like a little man, and she's like an even littler woman. And especially if you go to like an Asian country or something, if you're a short guy, just go date shorter women. This is what some of my coaching clients have done. Like Ed is probably a really good example. He's like literally, Ed, this guy down here, this beautiful man, he's a coach in my coaching program now. He literally just dates women that are shorter than him. He's 5'6". Yeah, he's 5'6". And so he just like basically exclusively dates and hits on smaller, like shorter women than him. That's it. That's his solution. I will just hit on shorter women. And I've asked him a couple of times, like, hey, do you ever think about your height and the fact that you're short? And he's like, why would I ever think about that? And I'm like, but you are pretty short, like 5'6". Does it ever come up in your head? And he's like, no. And I'm like, do you ever think about it when you're dating women? Do you ever feel insecure? He's like, no, I just only date shorter women than me. Problem fucking solved. Even if you're 5'1", just go to Asia or something, or just walk around outside and find the other short women. There are plenty of them. They might be a smaller minority. Cool. Just go hit on exclusively them. So that kind of solves the problem immediately. But yeah, I promise, even if you're short, even if you're very insecure about that, even if you're utterly convinced that no woman would ever like you and that all women just want tall guys, I promise you that's just a bunch of limiting beliefs that are in your head. I promise if these guys can do it, you can too. If you want me to hold your hand with that a little bit and walk you through that process and help show you that you can fucking do this, I'm very happy to coach you. There's a link in the description below to the coaching program. We have payment plans if money is a concern for you or you're a little bit worried about that. I will happily jump on a free call with you if you want more information, if you want to talk through and make sure the coaching program is a good fit for you. But if these beautiful human beings can do it, I promise you can too. Go out there, crush those goals. And if you're a shorter guy, go say hi to some women. Go say hi to some guys too. Go fucking talk to everyone in the world. And you might come to see that other people are not as obsessed with your height as you are. I promise you, there are people out there that will like you. There are people out there that will love you. But you got to put yourself out there and go out and actually meet them. In other words, you have to go out there and actually try.